on Casino Royale with cheese.
AJ wrote this down. AJ spends his night off shoving food down Grace's pants. This is what I wrote down.
It's foreplay, man.
With animal crackers.
He didn't shove.
It sounded funny the way I wrote it, though.
Yes, it is.
She says to Harry, everything good I have inside of me is because of you. And so I was automatically thinking, AJ's dick?
Oh, God. He had to get it in this episode.
Right?
You couldn't let it go this episode. You had to get creepy
man,
on me.
That's great.
Jesus.
Oh, shit, that's funny.
Hilarious.
And now, the conclusion.
Houston, we have a problem.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
A boy's best friend is his mother.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Silent Green is people!
Yo, Adrian! Adrian!
Let's put a smile on that face.
I gotta warn you, Clark. They don't play the same games here as they do at them regular casinos.
Royale, too.
I fuck you. I fuck you. We fucked you. We fucked you. It's beautiful. Don't we get a hand?
Welcome back to Casino Royale with Cheese. This is episode number 25 of the show, where we discuss movies that were number one at the box office exactly 20 years ago. With me today, I am joined by the man who, if you're not careful, he'll fuck you with a cell phone. This is Mike.
What's up, buddy?
Not much, man. How are you?
Pretty good.
Yeah? Pretty good?
Yep, I'll just leave it at that. Pretty good.
That's excellent. I guess. If you're in the U.S., I hope you had a safe and happy 4th of July. If you're not, I hope you had a good Wednesday. And that was this week. So, last week, so it seems like it's been longer than a week that we talked about Armageddon, in my opinion. It seems like it's been like a while.
It feels a lot longer than a week ago.
Yeah. I think that's because we hung out this week just for the 4th of July. So.
Oh, we didn't record anything then. Yeah.
Right. So. Anyway, we discussed Armageddon last week, and then way out of left field came Lethal Weapon 4.
Lethal Weapon chore.
Lethal Weapon chore. What's your experience with Lethal Weapon 4, like the series as a whole, or, I mean, have you watched any of that shit?
Oh, I watched all of them.
Yeah.
It was definitely something my dad was really into.
Gotcha.
So I watched all those with him as a kid. And I remember, the first one being really good. I haven't revisited it, though. But in my memory, it was really good.
Yeah.
And then I don't really remember any of the sequels except for this one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I saw this one, but I was an adult when this one came out.
Okay.
So I
you
saw
haven't...
it. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, so you haven't revisited any of, the sequels until basically now?
Right.
Okay. What were you saying?
I just wasn't impressed 20 years ago when I saw it.
Yeah. You kind of got to be in the right mindset, I guess, to enjoy that. You got to be a huge Lethal Weapon fan and just love the shit out of watching Mel Gibson and Danny Glover do their thing,
With jazz guitar in the background, or jazz saxophone.
Yeah, the saxophone, little blues sax going on. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of an icon of the franchise, but I think that it ages it pretty badly. I want to say because it's something that's reminiscent of the early '80s. I want to say.
I was thinking about it while I was watching the movie, and the only movie I could think of that has that jazz sax in the background is Lethal Weapon movies.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. There's a go ahead.
It was an old detective stuff, like back in the day.
Like old film noir type stuff.
Yeah.
Like the Maltese Falcon and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like Humphrey Bogart. It's kind of funny because I was talking to my wife, and she like texted your wife, and she's like, "So did you watch Lethal Weapon 4?" She's like, "That movie was fucking weird." She's like, they're playing like love music during action scenes. And, like, I think she was probably talking about the saxophone. But,
She was, and she talked throughout the entire movie. Like, what the hell is going on? This makes no sense.
The story, the way that it's splayed out, in my opinion, this isn't one that you really want to talk through if you want to get like the story overall. Because I think that you really got to be paying attention if you're gonna get like the way that they just lay the plot out. You know, like if you miss, like if somebody talks through a scene, you might have just missed like major plot points in the movie. You know,
or not.
But maybe not. There is a lot of bullshit in this movie where you can go for a stretch of like 20 minutes and there's nothing of consequence going on. You know.
So you watched Lethal Weapon 3, right? Before.
So yeah, I went through, actually, I was gonna try to watch all of them. I only wound up getting to watch Lethal Weapon 3. But, for anybody that's not familiar with the franchise, I actually went through and I've done my own little version of like a recap of what the movies are about.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of nice. Yeah. That being said, as far as Lethal Weapon 4 goes, I think 3 and 4, I don't think I've seen... I know I hadn't seen 3 prior to this week, like at all.
When are you going to do the recap?
I'm going to do it after I get done jabbering about my experience with Lethal Weapon 4.
Oh, I was all ready. Yeah. I like sat up in my seat. Like, okay, here we go.
Right? Mike's getting pumped. And Lethal Weapon 4, there's a buddy of mine back in the day. He bought like the box set of Lethal Weapon movies.
Was he a friend of yours from high school?
No, friend of mine after high school. I wound up like going to his house and he was watching Lethal Weapon 4. And so I went through, I was watching the movie basically up to the scene where they go to Uncle Benny's restaurant for the first time. He's talking about Flied, Ice and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think I was kind of maybe paying attention a little bit from there to the end, but I didn't really know the context of the story or anything, like the setup. So that was that. But all right, so here's what I've done. Needless to say, this is my first time watching both Lethal Weapon 4 and like paying attention in their entirety. What I did though during the course of the week, however, was the recap that I came up with. I did it in song form.
Oh, you wrote a song?
I wrote a song, indeed.
Oh shit!
It's like 15 verses. And it's to the...
Are you going to perform it?
I am.
Oh,
it's
God,
to
here
the
we go.
tune of the Ballad of Jed Clampett, if you've ever seen the Beverly Hillbillies. So
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome, and I think I should win a Grammy, but it'll probably be Pharrell again. But
Well, if you could got him to put the beat to your track.
That is true. He would have come up with something better than the Beverly Hillbillies.
You guys should have did a collab.
Right. A collaboration, you bet. Featuring me. No, it probably would have featured Pharrell.
So is this your musical debut?
I think it... Well, I definitely know it's my songwriting debut. I've sang karaoke before, but I don't think it counts. So... Nothing ever recorded, we'll say that.
Alright, well, I'm ready when you are, buddy.
As of this moment, I'm a recorded musical talent. So, you know. Okay, now you're going to have to bear with me. There's no music to go with this, and I might put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllables, but...
So you're going a cappella?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Even better.
I'm putting it out there, dude.
Let's go all
Okay.
in.
I'm calling this the Ballad of Lethal Weapon. And so, here we go.
I'm sorry.
In Lethal Weapon, we meet Detective Murtaugh. He works for the LAPD and served in Vietnam. On his birthday, he gets paired with Detective Martin Riggs, who served in Vietnam. Murtaugh's too old for this shit. 3 years before the movie, Martin Riggs' wife had died, and because of it, he was a-thinking about suicide. But before he could, an old army buddy came a-calling. He said that from a building that his daughter had a-fallen. It wasn't too long after that they went to check the scene. They found out that his daughter was chock full of heroin. They soon find out an ex-general is selling lots of drugs. Even worse, Gary Busey is one of his thugs. Riggs and Murtaugh were getting sick of the general's crap. They came up with a way that they could get the general back. They entered his operation and they did it pretty fast. The movie ends with Riggs kicking Gary Busey's ass. My favorite in the series is Lethal Weapon 2. It begins with our heroes in vehicular pursuit. The other cart is filled with South African cash, so the South African embassy is where our guys haul ass. They find the ambassadors are some shady guys. They're running their own drug kingpin, and there's a big surprise. Riggs and Murtaugh can't touch them, they have immunity. With no other options, they leave the embassy. Joe Pesci's Leo Getz is a character anew. He's under police protection, he's a whistleblower too. He has info about what the bad guys want to do. I think he's funny, but if you don't, I can't blame you. The bad guys have a cute little blonde girl in their ranks. Riggs and her start banging, so they shoot her in the face. Riggs loses his shit and goes on a killing spree. He no longer gives a fuck about their immunity. The climax of the movie in a cargo ship is nuts. Riggs finds the bad guys, then he gets shot in the guts. Murtaugh has a big hand in taking out the goons. Then he saves Riggs not a moment too soon. We're up to the third movie now.
I'm in it. I'm still in it.
Yep. Next in the series is Lethal Weapon 3. I find it weird the series wasn't a trilogy. A bomb threat is where our heroes first go. They tinker with the bomb and it decides to blow. Right after that, the captain takes their rank. They stop an armored truck made to look real, but it's fake. Internal Affairs starts to investigate. In this movie, Leo sells real estate. IA figured out that the bad guy was a cop. He found illegal guns, and then he opened shop. Riggs meets Lorna Cole, then he slings his meat. Murtaugh shoots his son's friend in the middle of the street. Last verse. The grand finale.
Okay.
They catch the bad guy and they set him on fire. By the end of the movie, Murtaugh doesn't retire. Everyone lived happily, or so it seemed, until part 4 hit the big screen. Fucking fantastic right there, man. I was just telling Mike that incrementally that took like 8 hours to write down all the shit. But you know, I'm a decent writer. I'm no Dr. Seuss or nothing, you know, so. Oh, God.
Tremendous.
Thank you. I'll probably never do that again, by the way, so. But,
did you say he slings his meat?
Yes, I did say he slings his meat.
That got me.
Yeah. That's his little wife in this movie. So there's a couple things I didn't go over in the song.
You left some shit out?
I did. I couldn't squeeze it in. Couldn't make it rhyme. Yeah. But really, it covered a lot of it. First off, Murtaugh has 3 kids.
Hey, by the way, before we just go, that was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, I think if you put it to some music, like you have a viral, like you could at least have like a video on YouTube where like everything you need to know about Lethal Weapon 1 through 3.
That is true. I should do that. That'd be a good plug for our channel. But
right,
I mean, that's worth considering.
But you already have all the hard work done.
That's it, dude. I can just sing it again.
Yeah,
that's it. Anyway, so Roger Murtaugh, he has 3 kids. He's a family guy in this movie. Not the family guy, but a family guy. His kids, he has a daughter, oldest daughter named Rianne. He has a son, Nick, who's the middle. And then a younger daughter, Harper, who I don't know that Harper, any of her stuff really ever factors in. he has a wife that I think her name is Lisa.
Trisha.
Trisha, that's it. Trisha, you bet. And so, aside from that, I mean, that pretty much covers it. There was some stuff where, you know, in like the second movie, like Rianne, she was talking about how she got this great job modeling and everything, and it was come to find out like she's in a commercial for beer and she's like rocking a bikini and all that. Murtaugh didn't like that shit, you know. But I mean, it's stupid little inconsequential details, you know. So.
Well, and didn't like Riggs say a bunch of inappropriate shit about her and stuff too?
It's possible.
Pretty sure he would like Murtaugh thought Riggs was gonna fuck Rianne at one time in one of the movies.
Oh yeah. That was in the third one. He thought
the third one.
He was trying to like get up on her and stuff, and he was like, "That's my daughter" and all that. Mm-hmm. And Riggs is like, "No, dude." He's like, "Your kids basically are my kids," you know. Right. It's kind of like if he thought that I was trying to hit on Farrah or something.
Gross.
Yeah, that would be awful. But yeah. So no, this is directed by Richard Donner. I guarantee you've seen some of his movies before. He did the original Superman movie with Christopher Reeve.
Well, you're right, then. I've definitely seen that.
Mm-hmm. He's done a bunch of shit. He did the original Omen back in the day. What was it? Oh, one of, we know, for instance, Cook's favorite movie is The Goonies. He directed that.
Okay.
He directed all four of these. He's been around in Hollywood like since the 60s. He actually directed a bunch of old Twilight Zones and shit, you know.
Awesome.
Yeah. So he knows his way around. Of course, you got Danny Glover, who's, I think his candle doesn't burn as brightly these days, but he definitely had his time in the sun. Let me see.
So you know,
go ahead.
Are you familiar with the actor / rapper / stand-up comedian Donald Glover?
Yes.
So for the longest time, I just assumed that Danny Glover and Donald Glover were dad and son.
You're not the first person to make that correlation.
And
I think it was me that told you absolutely not.
I just told people that he was his son. Like, I never did any research. And then one day I was like, I should probably look this shit up. And absolutely you're not related.
No, not at all.
I really wanted to believe it, though.
I think you're a big racist, actually.
No!
Black dude named Glover, they gotta be both, you know.
Black dudes named Glover that are both super talented.
I actually really like Donald Glover. I think he's funny. And I heard he plays a great Lando in that Han Solo thing, even though I haven't watched it. But, no, I like him. He does some funny stand-up, too.
I'm a monster fan of his music.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't think I've listened to his music.
It's pretty incredible stuff.
So he's like a black Justin Timberlake, kind of like a jack of all trades, I guess. Not as big, but, you know.
So he's pretty huge. He's got his own series on, was it TNT? Atlanta? No, it's on FX.
Really? FX.
He writes, directs, stars in.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't think TNT's a thing anymore.
No, it's on FX. My bad.
Who else is in this? We got
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson, yeah. Mel Gibson's been in everything.
Motherfucking Braveheart.
Yeah, Braveheart. He was Hamlet at one point. Very
Patriot.
shoddy Hamlet. But yeah, The Patriot. He's become a director that's pretty lucrative in the most recent years. He did
a racist.
Yeah, he did. He went through his racist phase.
Has I think issues with alcohol.
Yeah. I think people have kind of moved past the racism thing. I think that he's becoming more prominent again.
No, he's back for sure.
Yeah. But he did that, what's that one movie with
Passions of Christ?
He did Passion of the Christ. He directed the one that's about the kid that's a medic. That
Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah, Hacksaw Ridge. He did that.
That was his coming back.
Mm-hmm. The big time. What else? He was in Signs, of course. Mad Max. Things. Yeah, he's done all that shit. Yeah.
My favorite movie was the one where he what the hell? I can't remember now. He was like a womanizer, and he got like some, like I don't know. He felt he learned
what women want.
Yeah, that's my favorite Mel Gibson movie.
Where he's like, I'm exfoliating and all that shit, putting on pantyhose in front of his kids and shit.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever saw that.
It's not really my favorite movie.
I think that movie would not be very widely accepted nowadays because all it is like female stereotypes. Mm-hmm. Maybe in like the late 90s, early 2000s that could have been funny, but I think it would just offend a lot of people now. Let's see. We got Renee Russo. She's been in a bunch of shit. Chris Rock makes his Lethal Weapon debut in this. Mm-hmm. Only to be snuffed out pretty quickly because the series didn't continue after this one. I tend to want to say that I think they probably were looking at maybe doing additional movies at some point. But I don't think that this one made as much money as they were hoping that it would have. And so they wound up just, this was the end of it, you know, sort of thing. Because I could very easily see Chris Rock taking over, even if Danny Glover was like too old to carry the torch. Him kind of like taking over and being like Mel Gibson's like partner or whatever. You know, that sort of thing. I kind of almost get the feeling that that's what they're setting it up for, but it never happened. And then Mel Gibson was a big racist, and then so it petered out, you know. There was a TV show. Well, there still is a TV show that I guess has Damon Wayans and some other dude in it, but I don't watch it.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, no. It's still on TV. I guess they got rid of the guy that plays Martin Riggs, though, because he was being a little pussy about something or other. He was like, these stunts aren't safe, and like making a big deal about it, even though everybody's like, dude, it's fine, don't worry about it. And so like Damon Wayans is like, I'm never working with that guy again. So he got pissed off. The first movie was written by Shane Black.
We're not talking about the first movie. We're talking about 4. Lethal Weapon 4, Shane.
Well, I'm giving the origins of the species here.
You're starting to really drag this out, buddy.
Deviate, yeah. Okay, fair enough. You want to do some numbers?
Sure. It was number 1 for 1 week.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Was it? Oh, yep. Right. Got it right.
You're right.
It made... What was its budget?
It was made on a budget of $140 million, which seems like a lot to me.
It does a lot.
Yeah.
I want to say they about broke even that first weekend.
Well, are we talking first weekend or overall? Because that's what I want to know.
Oh, shit. Overall.
Yes, in the U.S.
They made $10 million.
10 million overall?
They made 10 million. No, over the budget. So 150 million.
Oh, you're close. It actually made 10 million under. 130,444,603.
That, my overall, friend, is what we call a flop.
Yeah, it wasn't huge. The overall take worldwide was 285 million, which put it at just over double its production budget, which means that it probably pulled in like maybe 15 million total, like extra dollars.
Wow.
If you're a movie producer, that's not what you want. So,
no.
What else? I don't know that I have anything else that I was going to say about this. So, I guess if you're ready, then we can get started.
I'm ready, Shane.
All right, man. Start us up, if you will.
Fire!
Indeed.
That's literally what we see, like, whoa, fire.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I was fucked. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, boy.
This is going to suck.
Yeah.
They did that with Lethal Weapon 3 as well. And I thought that movie kind of sucked, so a little foreshadowing.
So there's fire, and there's a dude in a suit that he's made himself that's completely bulletproof, and he's got a flamethrower and a machine gun.
Yeah, he's just lighting shit on fire.
He's just standing in the middle of the street,
LA.
just shooting shit and burning shit.
Yeah. The Briggs and Murtaugh arrive right there where the guy's like lighting shit up. They get the idea to try to run the guy over with the car, and at first they go for it, and then the guy like turns the flamethrower back on him, and he's about to like burn their asses. So they hop out of the car, try to take cover. start shooting at the guy, find out he's bulletproof. And then basically he's like, well, what I can do is I want to create like a diversion so that we can try to shoot this guy. He said, I'm going to go through and like, Riggs is like, I'm going to hop up and run out here and do some crazy shit. And then you go ahead and shoot at him whenever he's got his focus drawn on me. And he's like, I'm not going to have you do that. He's like, why? He's like, you got kids, grandkids, this whole thing you got to take care of. And he's like, well, Lorna, the girl from the third movie that worked for Internal Affairs, she's pregnant. And he's like, what the fuck?
Riggs is going to be a father.
He is.
Roger's going to be a grandfather.
Yeah. We find out Rihanna's pregnant. We don't know who the dad is, neither does he. Murtaugh. So basically they divvy it out. They decide that Murtaugh's going to create the diversion, strips down to his underwear, starts running around like a chicken. And then while the guy's like focused on him, Riggs shoots the guy's like fuel tank in the back. It like jettisons him into this gas station.
Turns him into Rocket Man.
Yeah, it does.
And he rockets into a fuel tanker.
Mm-hmm. It does indeed.
Boom.
I will say,
explosion.
Mm-hmm. The whole thing, gas station, tanker, everything goes toes up pretty quick. I think it's weird. So this is something I didn't mention, but I'm going to now. Back in the day, there was a weird advertising campaign for this movie. I remember when I was a kid, I'd be like sick at home from school or whatever, and there was always that one channel that showed like just random shit during the day. And it seemed like they had this preview. There were like two people talking, and it was like an infomercial just talking about Lethal Weapon 4, and it would run for like 8 hours straight in like half-hour segments just on a loop, dude. Like, yeah, man. And so they're like, sorry, there's not going to be any explosions in this movie. And they're like, just kidding. And then they show like the gas station blowing up, you know, like at the beginning of the movie or whatever. It was really strange, man. But so yeah, that was different. And I remember like being sick at home from school and just watching the stupid Lethal Weapon 4 thing because we didn't have cable. So,
oh God.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And I hadn't seen any of the other movies. So
you had a really rough childhood.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Pretty bad.
So we cut to about 9 months later.
Mm-hmm. This whole 9-month cut kind of bothers me in some ways, but we'll go over that when we get to it.
Well,
I know why they
we're
did
there.
It. Well, so I know why they did it, because they wanted it to be later on in Lorna's pregnancy and Rianne's pregnancy. But the thing that I didn't care for is like later on it shows them going to the police station or whatever, and there's like articles up that show Murtaugh like running around in his underwear and stuff. I'm like, this is a 9-month-old joke, you know? Like,
yeah, it is.
Seems really strange to me, man.
It is a 9-month-old joke.
Right. So I think that would have been funny for a couple weeks, and then it would have ran out of gas. But I guess, like, it's just a thing now, you know? But whatever. There's some other stuff, but whatever. We'll go over it. So Leo, Riggs, and Murtaugh, Joe Pesci's Leo Getz, they're all on a fishing trip on this stupid boat out in the middle of the water. And what is it? Oh, they caught a shark.
Yeah, Leo caught a shark.
Yeah. Oh, what's your opinion of Leo Getz, by the way?
In this movie, I cannot stand him.
Really? I like him, especially at the end of the movie. I thought. He was a nice
God.
Yeah.
It's so. I love Joe Pesci, but his character in this movie is so extra, and I know that's what his character is supposed to be.
He's an idiot. Yeah.
But he's loud and obnoxious, and he talks in circles.
Yeah.
I
can
know
kind of see.
Joe Pesci's just playing his role really well.
Right. He's supposed to be annoying.
Nails
the thing. Right. Give that dude an Oscar. Yeah. The thing about it is, I think, so I don't like musicals, and the reason why is because whenever I'm watching a movie, it's a musical, and they start singing, like the plot of it just stops, you know? And I think that...
Well, you're not listening to the words of the song, then, man.
Well, that's true, too.
Because
but I think Leo does the same thing. Right.
I'm telling you what it's about right then.
How they feel and shit,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I still don't like him, but... Anyway, I think Leo's kind of that way with this. Is that we get the movie going, we're starting to get the story going and stuff, and then Leo shows up, and like the movie like slams the brakes, you know.
Well, they want even more of that because they brought Chris Rock in, and he does a lot of the same stuff.
Mm-hmm. They did indeed, and they at one point I actually like the scene where they're kind of like improvising off each other. It was pretty funny, but we'll get to that later.
So there's a shark in a fucking boat.
Mm-hmm.
What's the name of the boat? Something 7.
No, I don't remember. I don't really care.
Code 7.
Code 7. Oh, you know what that is? That's lunch.
Oh, is that what Code 7 is?
Code 7 is, yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
So they're in this boat, Code 7. There's a shark in there. Leo is scared of it. Riggs and Murtaugh are making fun of him. Then they have a talk about... What do they talk about? It doesn't matter what they talk about.
Murtaugh's asking Riggs if, you know, they already have a kid and they live together and they love each other. Why don't him and Lorna just get married?
Oh, right.
Yeah, and he's like, well, here's the deal. He said, whenever I was married to my my deceased wife, Vicky, he said she wound up dying because I was a cop. Which you find out in Lethal Weapon 2 that the bad guys in that movie actually put out a hit on Martin Riggs, but they accidentally killed his wife instead of him. And so he's of the opinion like, yo, all I'm doing is putting her in harm's way if I marry her. But I'm like, you're putting her in harm's way anyway, just being with her, so might as well marry her, you know. But anyway.
Yeah, so Leo goes and grabs a pistol.
Yeah, he does.
And he's going to shoot the shark.
Right.
And they say, no, you can't shoot the shark. And then Riggs tosses his gun into the ocean. And then a giant fucking cargo ship out of nowhere starts like sideswiping them.
Yeah.
And they hear gunshots.
Right. You know how big the ocean is? Just happened to run into them.
But like no sign of that before that.
No.
It's like a ghost ship.
Right.
Just popped up.
I think it's weird too. So I know that in Lethal Weapon 3, they originally weren't going to have Leo in the movie, and then they brought him in basically just because they wanted to get Joe Pesci back. And I think that this is kind of the same thing because he doesn't really play that big a role with the plot. And instead with this, though, he's gone now from working with like this embassy with these guys that are like have their own drug kingpin, and then in the third movie he's a real estate salesman, and now he's a private investigator. Bullshit. That's bad writing. But
you can't hold down a job.
I guess not.
So they hear some shots.
Anyway, yeah.
And they decide to pursue because that's what they do. They're cops, and they pursue.
Right, they do.
And they go after the boat, and they're like, "LAPD, pull over!" And people on the boat are not amused and shoot at them.
Right.
And Riggs blows up the back half of the boat with a couple bullets.
This good dude's the best shot ever, too, man.
He's incredible.
Yeah. Almost to the point of being unrealistic.
Yeah, he should be in one of those Wild Wild West shows.
Right.
And Murtaugh too. He's got that cool neck trick.
Right.
When he rolls out cracks his neck.
Cannon. Yeah.
You can't miss. He's a sniper when he does that.
Yeah.
I would do that before I took every shot.
Right. Take all the time you need, man, because you're gonna get it. You know. The funny thing about it is not only do they shoot this gas can, they kill a couple of the dudes that have been shooting at him, and they shoot out the spotlight that's on the back of this freighter. And so I'm like, you know how hard it would be to shoot one of those spotlights? Because at this point, they're way past the boat that Riggs and Murtaugh are on. Like, they're probably a good half-mile away. And so, like...
Well, and you're on the top of a fishing boat in the wake of a cargo ship. Moving
water, yeah, exactly. That's incredible to me, but whatever. That's so dumb. So
don't worry, folks. There's lots of those moments in this movie.
Yeah, it gets dumber from here on out. I promise you.
So the ship runs onto land.
Mm-hmm.
I missed the whole part of the thing, didn't I?
Yeah, Riggs hops on the ship, basically. And then, what is it? Oh, that's right after that it runs aground, so you didn't miss too much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's a barrel that winds up exploding on the deck of the ship. And it flies up in the air. Yeah. Right into Murtaugh's boat and sinks it.
So, just so you guys understand, that barrel that we're talking about that's flying, that's when Riggs shoots the back of the boat. We see that barrel go flying.
Right.
There's a whole fight scene and some other stuff going on. Then the ship runs aground, and Riggs pretty much takes care of everything on the ship. And then that barrel we saw from 20 minutes of action ago crashes back into Code 7, right in the middle of it. And fucking Murtaugh and Leo both see it coming. From above their heads.
Orbit of the Earth, yeah.
Leo's like, oh, look, there's that barrel, here it comes. And they're like, oh, we should get out of the boat. And they like jump.
Is that supposed to be the same barrel from the first?
Yeah.
Are you serious? I didn't catch that. That is so retarded, bro.
It rockets into the sky, and they like focus on this one barrel flying up.
Yeah. So after it like circles the Earth once, then it hits Murtaugh's boat.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous, bro.
And so,
because this isn't a short scene, you know.
No. And then Leo and Murtaugh jump out of the boat and start swimming over to like a little lifeboat attached to the big ship.
Right.
And the shark from the opening part of the scene is in the water now,
like chasing him down.
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
The shark was right where the barrel hit and blew up the boat.
Yeah, he'd be sushi, man. That's pretty dumb.
At that point, I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be really rough."
It's gonna be so bad. Yeah, this is gonna be lost in space. So Riggs up on the boat. There's a guy that's the captain of the boat that winds up beating Riggs' ass.
Dragon tattoo.
Yeah, that's it. And so
on his neck.
Mm-hmm.
He's a motherfucking
Captain
gangster.
Of course, yeah. That's the Yakuza thing. I have no idea.
They're triads, man.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because Yakuza is, that's Japanese anyway.
Yeah, look at you.
Now I'm the racist. So they wind up, I didn't really get the whole point of that. Apparently the captain of the boat wound up shooting a guy that was on there, but he wasn't involved with the gang at all.
No, we get that immigration guy.
The what?
The immigration guy.
Oh, yeah.
He gives us the whole human trafficking immigration dialogue.
Right. Yeah, that's after the...
But he says that guy said there's a couple dead bodies. They kill a couple on every boat to show the others what would happen if they don't pay.
Oh, I got you. The sound was a little jacked up on my copy of this. They find a bunch of people that are below deck on this big freighter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we cut to where we see Murtaugh. He goes over to the lifeboat. He like just sits down for whatever reason, and then he finds out, pulls back this big blanket canvas thing, and there's like a whole family of Chinese people in there that are just chilling, trying to hide.
Yep. The Hung family.
The Hung family, yeah. There we meet Detective Lee Butters.
Dude.
Stupid name.
His name is Butters, but I swear they call him Butler.
They do.
Call him Biscuits.
Biscuits, yeah.
They call him Porter.
Yeah. They're fucking up his name on purpose. He's the new guy.
Oh.
Yeah. They don't give a fuck about that dude. Yeah. So yeah,
he doesn't even correct him. He just keeps on going.
Yeah. At first I was like, are they just... Maybe they don't know his name? I think they're just fucking with him because he's the new guy, though.
Oh. So, okay.
Yeah.
Butters.
Butters. That made me think of South Park. But
me too.
Yeah. Maybe those deals they have up at the Texas Roadhouse. Some bomb-ass butter there, dude.
At least with the cinnamon butter.
Yeah, that stuff's on point, man.
Such a fat kid.
It's funny, me and the wife today, we were talking about, like, you know, all in all, we do a lot of bitching and stuff like that, but, you know, she's like, you know, but we're actually pretty fortunate. She's like, I mean, we got, you know, good house, both got good jobs, you know, all this stuff, and she was like, we got our health, and I was like, do we? We'll say health-ish, you know. I was like, we don't have cancer, so there's that, you know. That's about all you can say.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so we cut to this Chinese restaurant looking deal. This really old Chinese dude.
Uncle Ben.
Yeah, Uncle Benny. And turns out that there's this guy that I guess he's part of like the local electorate in Los Angeles, that basically he's going through and having this Uncle Benny guy smuggle people over to the United States from China, basically just to secure votes for the incumbents.
Yeah, we skipped over a part that we kind of need to mention real quick.
Go ahead.
Riggs goes home. It's the next morning after the boat incident, and he's with his girl. And they have
after what I was talking about. But yeah. Yeah, it is.
All right, go ahead.
That same night.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't really matter. Apparently, they find out, the guys at the Chinese restaurant, they find out that the ship was impounded. We meet Jet Li's character. We don't know his name for a while in the movie, but I wrote it down later.
I just write down Jet Li.
Yeah. Well, the character's name is Wasing Ku, but I'm just going to call him Jet Li while we talk about the movie.
They say his name one time right at the end.
Right. Doesn't matter. Wasing Ku. But, so, he's not happy about the ship being impounded, and I think that he was kind of thinking that politician guy might have been, like, part of the reason that it got impounded. Or maybe he's just, like, a loose end or whatever, so they fucking kill his ass. Drive him onto some train tracks.
Well, they pay him, and then push him in front of an incoming train.
Right, in his vehicle, yeah. So that's whenever we go the next day to Murtaugh's house.
Okay.
Yeah.
This scene drive me crazy, man. They were eating the whole time they were talking.
Don't do that in a movie, bro. Don't do that in real life.
The whole conversation, they had food in their mouth.
Yeah.
And then she offers to make him some breakfast, and she brings out a box of cereal and some donuts.
Works for me, man.
But we just saw her cooking.
Right.
What was she cooking?
Donuts, duh. That's.
Oh.
No, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't think she's cooking donuts.
Yeah, no, she's full of shit. Probably making rice.
But basically, the whole gist of that morning conversation is we find out that Murtaugh's being accused of being on the take.
Yeah.
And that Rianne is pregnant with Butter's kid, and they're actually already married.
Oh, yeah. No, that's I was talking about, you're talking about when Riggs came home.
Yeah.
He went to I was talking about when they went to Murtaugh's house.
That was after.
Yeah, I guess so. No, so yeah, you're right. This is where they go to Riggs' house. He looks at the baby room. She went to Internal Affairs, talked to her old buddies or whatever, and she basically says that it's Riggs' kid, baby's coming anytime, or that it's Butters' kid, and she said that some of the guys in IA suspect that he's on the tape, and that's basically it. Yeah, you're right. I was just setting the scene because I was way off base.
Yes.
It's
so anyways, that happened. Then they go to Murtaugh's house, where we find that he took the Hung family home.
Right. Stupid.
Really stupid.
Right. I guess he doesn't want the family to... He's trying to hide it at first from Riggs, but he doesn't want them to end up as part of the system, or even worse, get deported back to China or whatever. His take on it is that these guys are going to get sold into this human trafficking, slavery type thing until they work off their debt that they've accrued being smuggled into the U.S. And he's like, hey, nobody was there to help my family whenever they were enslaved in the U.S., so I'm trying to help these guys out, It's kind of like scratch, pay it forward type of deal, I guess.
100%. That's what he said, yeah.
Yeah. We find out that Rianne's baby, or that we find out that she actually got married. I don't know if you mentioned that.
I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
But
she and Butters.
We saw that. We found that out in the exact same scene that we found out that Butters' kid
eating. Yeah,
yeah,
they're eating butter.
Ooh.
So they go to the police station. Riggs and Murtaugh do. They get made captains, which is kind of nice. But it's basically just to go ahead.
This is where you see that picture you talked about with the 9-month-old joke. Mm-hmm. It's a picture of Murtaugh doing his chicken dance taped up on a wall. What's funny about it is Riggs' character takes it down. He's like, "Come on, we gotta stop this shit." And as soon as Murtaugh starts to walk off, he tapes it right back up on the wall.
Right.
And that's why the 9-month-old joke works.
Oh, okay. Because he's perpetuating it. Yeah.
Yes.
Got you. That's kind of what I was thinking. Is he just wouldn't let the joke die, but.
Well, why would he? He gets a laugh every time.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Yeah. Is they just keep it going. That's it. Long story short. They're made captains. Riggs and Murtaugh are.
Captain.
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 After you, Captain. Yeah.
Captain.
They're like saluting each other and shit. As it turns out, they're made captains just because the city's trying to keep them off the street because of all the property damage they've caused. And they can't
fire them.
Yeah, they can't get insurance. The city can't anymore. And so they don't want to fire them, but they don't want them out wreaking havoc either.
So they can't promote him to lieutenant because there's no slots for lieutenants, but there's 2 slots available for captains.
Mm-hmm. So we get to the point where Butters goes up. He's like, "Hey, congratulations! You know, you made me real proud. You know, and all this other shit." And then Murtaugh's like, "I think that boy might be gay, dude."
Yeah.
He's like,
he thinks Butters likes him.
Yeah, I think he likes me. Yeah.
And Riggs, fully knowing that Butters is married and has impregnated Murtaugh's daughter, doesn't say shit. He just
goes along with it.
Murtaugh think he's gay.
Right. I'm not gonna lie, man. I actually like Mel Gibson in this movie. I think he's funny, and a lot of the shit that he's given to do, I find amusing. So is what it is. Riggs goes to see the police psychiatrist about marriage.
She's a terrible psychiatrist.
Well, and the second movie is fucking with her pretty hard. Or in the third one. I don't remember if he was in the second one. But in the third movie, he just keeps messing with her. Because she's like, "Hey, we need to talk about this thing that happened." And so, he'll, come up with some bullshit just to mess around with her and stuff. And so at this point, she's like, "I'm not messing with this dude anymore." It's her take on it.
Well, she blows up on him in the middle of the station. And then he tells her, "No, I can't go out with you."
Right. I'm in a relationship. Yeah.
Which burns her.
Mm-hmm. They go and talk to a couple of the other officers that are in the office, and they said that the suspect, as far as the the guy's getting smuggled in, your best bet's going to be this Uncle Benny Chan. It's the guy that we saw earlier, the old dude in the Chinese restaurant. And so Riggs, Murtaugh, and Butters decide they're going to go to this restaurant and try to question Uncle Benny.
Well, they bring Butters as a guise that they're going to go eat lunch.
Right.
Because they just got promoted to captain, so they would stay off the street, and they immediately go back on the street.
Right. Yeah. They're like, long lunches now and stuff like that. So, yeah. And so, anyway, Riggs, Murtaugh, and Butters, they go... Butter, I can't get used to that, bro.
It's weird.
They show up to the... Yeah, it is. They show up to the restaurant.
Well, in the car, we find out that Butters grew up in the hood.
Yeah, he did.
So he was on the floor till he was 10 years old because he couldn't walk around his house.
Why couldn't he walk?
You don't understand that reference because you didn't grow up in violent neighborhoods?
Oh, because they're shooting, drive-bys and shit.
Yeah, when you hear gunshots outside your bedroom window, which for about a 6-year period of my life, I did live in that neighborhood. It was like that. Your parents teach you to hit the ground. The good old city of Pomona, California.
Pomona. Mm-hmm. You know what's funny is that's where John McClane was going to stay whenever he went to go see his wife, and the first Die Hard was in Pomona.
Oh, really?
stupid trivia, I guess. But yeah, because he kept calling it Ramona, and his wife was like, "It's Pomona, dumbass," you know. Basically.
So there's a Ramona, California too.
Is there? Mm-hmm. She's talking about Pomona.
Okay. Leo's tailing him in a giant red truck.
Yep, he is. I like Leo. I ain't gonna lie, man.
A giant red truck.
Yeah, really not sneaky at all, we'll say.
I was telling you guys.
Okay. So they managed to ditch the tail. Long story short, if you want to get the details, watch the fucking movie. I don't care. So they ask Uncle Benny about the smuggling. He denies everything. So they actually meet Jet Li, and he's not entertained at all with their shenanigans. What is it? Toward the end of the scene, they don't get any information, so Riggs pulls the fire alarm and grabs an umbrella. And they're walking out the door, and then they see the captain of the boat just like chilling outside. So a little foot chase ensues. And yep. I'm not going to go over the details of that either.
Murtaugh buys a bicycle.
Chase. Yeah, he does buy one for a lot of money, it seems like.
$200.
Yep.
Riggs
so it's Murtaugh on a
eventually
bike.
has to jump into a dumpster.
Yeah. Basically, it ends with the rooftop chase. Riggs is like hanging off of the rooftop, and so they push like a dumpster underneath him so they can drop down into it. Right after that, we find out that the guy that Butter's apprehended, he's actually just a waiter. They're like, prove it. He's like, what's the special? He's like, what day is it? Like Wednesday. And so he like gives the special. They're like, fuck, you know.
That doesn't mean shit though.
No, it doesn't. Not at all.
Because let's say I was in the gang, right, and we all hang out at that restaurant all the time.
Well, the boy that runs the operation owns the restaurant. I'd know that shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you'd probably eat there all the time.
That's true too.
And you would know what your favorite day of the week was, what specials were on what day. You would know all that shit.
Sir. Yep.
So just because this guy knows the specials, they let him go. After Chris Rock had just chased him through the whole town.
That's true.
Or through Chinatown, anyways. Then he lets him go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, chase him through town, being L.A. Good fucking luck. How many days did that take?
So then, like you said, the chase ends on a rooftop. Riggs doesn't catch the guy. He's just dangling, so he falls into a dumpster. And the guy who got away with the dragon tattoo on his neck, Jet Li kills him right away.
Right. Kind of a loose end. He thinks that he's too recognizable to the cops, so he kills him.
He's got a dragon tattooed on his neck, man.
That's it right there. Kind of obvious. We cut to where, this is kind of cool. I actually kind of like this scene, is where Murtaugh's talking to the Hong Daddy, we'll call him.
Hong Daddy.
He's like talking to him in the living room, and they start drinking tequila. If I had an Asian family living in my house, tequila's probably not going to be my go-to, but whatever.
Why not?
It just seems weird, man.
What's the appropriate audience to break out tequila?
I have no idea. Like people that like margaritas, I guess. I just wouldn't think, because, there might be, I'm sure that there's like rampant amounts of vodka and stuff like that in China, but you wouldn't think, I don't think China tequila, the two don't automatically equivalent to each other, I guess. That's
okay.
Where I'm coming from.
If I had some type of unique liquor that you'd never had before,
yeah, I'd give it a try. So
I was like, hey, you want to check this out? You'd be like, yeah, I'll try it.
Yeah.
Same thing with tequila and China, man.
Yeah. So, and they seem to like it. They drink it straight. Like a sipping whiskey or something. But
and then he gives him his dad's watch.
Mm-hmm. I like this scene because I think that Danny Glover looks like very genuine. He's like really eager to like help this family out, Mm-hmm. So he's like, this is my dad's watch. When he retired from the force, he got it. And he's like, I want you to have it. And he's like, well, I can't take your watch. And he was like, no. It was, it belonged to a good man. It'll belong to another good man, Basically, I was like, that's kind of a nice little thing, I can get down with that. So we cut to where in China, we don't know the significance, but they're sending more like prison escapees over from China. on like this 747 jet or whatever.
Yeah, 4 prisoners. Are transported by the government to a commercial air flight.
Right. Indeed. It's right after
Destination Los Angeles.
LA. You bet. Riggs is meanwhile in the middle of a boxing ring getting his ass handed to him, bro.
Yep.
And
then he gets the old shoulder injury.
Right.
The one that we've seen throughout the whole series.
Oh yeah, that's right, because he like dislocates his shoulder or whatever. And we actually see that later on too.
Yeah, of course we do.
Yeah.
This is Lethal Weapon.
Right. Well, so they, having watched Lethal Weapon 3, they never mention it, not one time.
What?
Which is weird. Yeah. They would do it in the second one, and where he's got like the straight jacket on, and he can like dislocate his shoulder, you know, and like get out of it. And also, I thought it was weird that in the third one they never mention his dead wife either, Vicky. It's weird, man. Whatever.
So he was actually faking the injury this time.
Right. Just because he was getting his ass handed to him. Yeah. So he tells Murtaugh that he's feeling older, and Riggs, they basically, he's like, well, you know, it's just going to get worse from here. You know, you're going to be getting older and feeling like crap and not being able to do as much stuff. And he's like, nope, I'm going to will it away. It's not going to happen. We're not too old for this shit. And so that's what they start chanting to each other.
Then, a funny moment in that scene is Murtaugh is, he's changing. Everyone's changing. Did you notice that the other guys in the locker room were like all giants?
Yeah. Like huge, bro.
Dude, I would never work out in that gym. These dudes are all like Mr. Olympias walking around.
Right. I feel like a frumpy idiot.
Yeah.
Even so like Mel Gibson, like he's not in bad shape, but he's nothing compared to these dudes, you know. Like,
yeah, they're all super jacked. But anyways, Murtaugh is like, he's down to skivvies when Butters walks in and says like, "Hey guys," or something like that. And Murtaugh like hurries up and pulls his pants back up real fast.
Yeah. It's kind of funny.
I thought that part was funny.
Because he thinks Butters is gay. Hey, yo.
Then I just wrote down cell phone rant.
Yeah. This is a scene I actually kind of like. But more so I think because of Chris Rock than because of Joe Pesci. Just because I like where he starts like going into the whole thing about talking on like his grandma's phone or whatever. He's like, now you got this big ass phone, you know, you got to reach all the way around. 4, you know, and he's like doing the whole like big ass body motions and stuff. It's pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like it.
I like when he talks about they charged me for talking to Afghanistan for 3 hours. 3 hours. I don't know no one in Afghanistan. Even if I did, I wouldn't talk to him for 3 hours. I don't talk to my daddy for 3 hours.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Chris Rock, I mean, like, when he wants to shine, he can shine. But it's like when we first meet his character, Butters,
right,
at the boat scene at the beginning, like, he's not good in that scene at all.
Well, he's
trying to convey emotion, and he's smiling.
He's being very un-Chris Rock-ish, too, you know. That's him being, like, solemn and pissed off and stuff isn't really his thing, you know.
Well, and he's smiling while he's doing it.
Right. That too.
He can't help it.
Right.
He just smiles all the time.
All the time. I actually have one of his the Bigger and Blacker, the one of his stand-ups on DVD. Yeah. It is really funny, dude.
That's
like hilarious.
One of the best all time.
Yeah. Just fantastic. So yeah, I said Leo and Butters bond over shitty cell phones. And then Riggs winds up grilling Murtaugh over being on the take. He thinks, you know, he might bring it up to him and stuff. He's like, yo, you're wearing nice suits all the time. You know, I'm just wondering, making sure that everything's on the up and up, you know. I don't even know why he would bring it up. But.
No, and we do this while he's in the back of a squad car.
Right.
Because they're giving the captains a ride home.
Yeah. Kind of strange.
I don't get it.
Whatever.
I'm pretty sure it's just so they can have a Pontiac commercial.
It could very well be. But I got some stuff to say about that Pontiac too, but we'll get to it. So Riggs and they have this conversation on the way back to Murtaugh's house. So turns out when they get home, Jet Li and his boys are there. They've tracked down this Hong family. They figured out that Murtaugh is harboring them, essentially. And long story short, a fight breaks out between Jet Li's boys and Riggs and Murtaugh, and even pregnant-ass Lorna gets involved. Like, never somebody get their ass kicked by a pregnant lady, but she's pretty effective.
There's guns in these fights, and no one is pulling the trigger.
Nobody's doing shit with it, yeah.
They even get to the point where they have them pointing at each other's faces, and no one pulls triggers.
Right. I thought it was weird, because, like, Lorna walks out of the kitchen, and the dude has a knife or whatever, and, like, holds it up to her belly. And so, like, Riggs and Murtaugh put their guns down. Dude, that's when, if I were Jet Li and his happy band of thugs or whatever, I would start opening fire on them dudes, you know? Let's take them out now. But
nope.
Whatever. So
it's a lot of fighting.
Yeah. And this is really Jet Li, like, it is. He's doing. I love watching Jet Li, and I'm not even like a martial arts guy, but he's incredible.
It's pretty cool, some of the stuff he does.
Yeah.
He's very flexible.
Mm-hmm. He is. People always used to ask who would win in a fight, like Bruce Lee, or not Bruce Lee, but the Tuxedo.
Jackie Chan?
Yeah. Or Jet Li, and I was like, Jet Li would beat the shit out of Jackie Chan any day, in my opinion. But you know, it's just me.
I would like to see it go down.
I would love it.
If you guys are listening, you know, right. Let's arrange that. I could probably throw like $20 in for a purse.
Yeah. Just come and do it in my living room. We can push some chairs around and stuff.
Yeah. Make room.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. So after they kick Riggs and Murtaugh's asses, they duct tape everybody up, and then they light the house on fire.
Like on fire, bro.
It's stupid though. If you're gonna kill him anyway, why don't you just shoot him in the face when you had a chance, you know? But
they light everything in this house on fire around them.
Yeah.
But no one puts any gas or anything on them.
Nope. Never does. Not one of them.
And then Ping saves the day.
Little Chinese boy. Yeah.
Comes up with those little safety scissors.
Mm-hmm. Just cut them loose. That's it, man. So I think it's funny because a running theme of these movies is Murtaugh, like his personal like property winds up getting basically fucked.
His house gets fucked every movie.
Yeah. Well, except the third one, once again. And that one, the closest it gets is when Leo's trying to sell his house, that he finds termite damage. Which is funny. But what's crazy, though, is, like, basically, first his boat gets fucked in this movie, and now they've basically decimated his house, like, once and for all. Like, in this thing. You know? It's done. So they decide, after they escape, Little Ping cuts them loose. They wind up hopping in a car, and they get in touch with the police helicopter to try to find this black Mercedes that is on the basically so they can track it down and chase him down. And this movie has some problems with this scene, bro.
No.
Some issues.
No. Let's just say they go full Fast and the Furious.
Like crazy shit, bro.
Mm.
I got news for you right now. So they're driving like this Pontiac Grand Prix, and that Mercedes would beat the shit out of a Grand Prix any day of the week. I guarantee you.
In what terms? Like in
like
the
speed
bumper cars?
Getting away from him and stuff. Like if that dude has like a clear shoulder of the road, he's gone. He would never see them again, you know. Well, Mercedes, that European engineering.
Unfortunately, the guy driving the Mercedes decided to drive behind a really slow truck and to the right of an extra wide load.
Yeah, he does. The stupid like double wide that's being moved. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So I could just fast forward through the scene real quick.
Yes, do that, please. Thank God. It's a great idea. Let's do that.
So there's a double wide that is on the freeway as well. So Riggs has Murtaugh pull up to it. Riggs then jumps into the double wide trailer, opens up the door, reaches through, punches the driver in the face, and rips him out of the car all in one swoop. And then they start fighting inside of there. He's trying to find out where the Hung family is. He's not even talking about the fact that he just almost killed everybody he cares about. He just wants to know where the Hungs are. There's plastic on the side of the double wide. They push and push and push each other in it until eventually it gives way. And fortunately, Riggs lands on top of an upside down table, and now he's table surfing through the highway, holding onto the plastic sheeting like a rope. The Chinese gentleman was not as fortunate, and he got ran over by a bus. So after that, the car the car comes back to run over Riggs. The Mercedes is over there to run over Riggs, but Murtaugh saves the day by slamming his Pontiac into the Mercedes. By the way, Mercedes are built like tanks. They're just famous for it. So Pontiacs were not. Matter of fact, that company doesn't even exist anymore because of the quality of their cars.
Pontiac.
Huh?
I love Pontiac. I used to have a Firebird. It was badass.
I actually owned one of those too. But Murtaugh gets Riggs. He jumps back in the car. And then crazy car chase. They drive through a fucking building. They jump into one side of the building, drive through the building, drive out of the other side of the building, and land the car right next to the Mercedes they've been chasing this whole time.
On the highway. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so dumb. That's so dumb. Oh, God.
And honestly, what happens then?
Well, so they're following this car. They get down to, I think it's supposed to be like an exit ramp. And so the Mercedes, he gets to the bottom of this exit ramp, and then this like truck winds up running into it, killing the guy.
Oh, that's right. It was an accident.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then they wind up, like, they turn at the last second. I think the rear end of that Pontiac smacks into the truck, too, but that's basically it.
Yeah, they stop right at a little sign that says, "Don't follow too close." And Murtaugh looks at Riggs and says, "I think we got too close."
Maybe. Could have been too close, yeah. So the whole scene was nothing, just a big old action wank. There's a dog barking in the background.
Yeah, my dog. I don't know if someone's at the door.
Whatever.
Yeah, she'll chill out.
Right, that's fine. So Jet Li arrives at this international holding area, and he goes to see the 4 guys that were shipped over from China, basically.
Yeah.
We find out one of them is his brother.
Yep.
And what does he give the other? Oh, he gives him his glasses.
He gives him a pair of glasses.
Like the old guy. Yeah.
Somehow he knew the old guy got his glasses broke in transportation.
Right. Anyway, so they figure out a way that they can get a hold of Uncle Benny, kind of find out what's going on. And so he's at a dentist office. Yeah. They have Leo make an appointment as a diversion, basically, so that they can go see Uncle Benny at the dentist office. And so they get in there, they're bullshitting with Uncle Benny. At first they like threaten him, they're like, "We're gonna yank all your teeth out and shit." But then they decided they're gonna use laughing gas and like basically try to get information out of him.
Like truth serum almost.
Right, yeah.
Uh-oh, turned it up too high.
Right, and they're not keeping it on his face either. They're just letting it spray into the room, yeah.
Get the whole room high.
Right.
Hilarity ensues.
Not really.
They're just all laughing. So it's Butters, Riggs, Murtaugh, and Uncle Benny are all like rolling, and Uncle Benny's talking about using
the forefathers.
Yeah.
He's talking about
the mail is here.
The mail is here. Thank you so much, dear.
On Sunday. Guy's getting overtime.
They rang the doorbell? That's why the dog was going crazy? Okay, thank you, baby. That was my daughter, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, what up? So they go through... I didn't even really pay that much attention to a lot of the dialogue that was going down in this scene. Just because it's like them laughing hysterically. I couldn't make it out, but I really didn't care that much. So... One thing that does happen in the scene is Butters tries to tell Murtaugh that he's his son-in-law, basically.
He does tell him.
Yeah, he does tell him. Murtaugh doesn't think anything about it at first because he's just too giddy laughing at this crap. But,
your baby is having my baby!
we do find out that Uncle Benny says something about, like, the forefathers or something like that.
Yeah. Buying back his forefathers.
Yeah. So they, what is it here? Yeah, Benny.
You're digging, man. There's not a whole lot that happens in the scene.
There's really not.
No, they get out of the room and we see Murtaugh punch Riggs.
Mm-hmm. At first, I thought that it was fucking like Leo that punched Riggs because like his teeth were hurting or whatever after he was messing around at the dentist office. I was like, absolutely not. If he tried to punch Mel Gibson, he would just get his ass handed to him, bro. But
yeah, that's definitely not happening.
No. So they go through. We find out that Jet Li is actually making counterfeit money. And I think that what has happened is he's actually gone through and he's brought over the family because what he's doing is he's trying to make all this counterfeit money so that he can bring over these quote-unquote forefathers. And what's happening is he's using the Hong family to create like these, like engrave these plates so that they can make it look authentic.
Well, Hong's uncle is a big deal artist in China.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So he's the one who's actually making the plates in order to have, so they can move his family to China or America.
Right. Yes. And so, what is it? Oh, the apparently at one point I wrote down Jet Li kills Hong Dad. Because he thinks that the uncle's not like working fast enough or whatever, so he does this really quick thing where he like fucking like hits him right in the throat and the dude's like dead instantly. It's crazy looking.
Yep. But uncle finishes the plates.
Yes. And then doesn't he just kill everybody when he's done?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Him and his crew make a bunch of money, and like as soon as they know that the plate is good, he kills off the artist.
Mm-hmm. So they have a guy that's of Asian descent in the LAPD office.
But he works for like the Asian Crime Task Force or something like that.
Yeah. But he can translate for him, which is nice. And so they go through, they tell him what Uncle Benny said, and he's like, he said something about ancestors, and he's like, I don't know anything about ancestors. He's like, yeah, he said something about our forefathers. He's like, wait, forefathers? He goes, those are guys that are members of the Triads.
They're the 4 founding members of the Triads or something like that.
Yeah. Right. And so he tells him like where there's this shit that usually goes down, whatever. They go there to check it out, and they find that there's been counterfeit money that's been made. Uncle Benny's dead, and like what they had there of the Hong family, they're all dead too.
No, the Hong family, the rest of the family's fine.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they even asked.
Oh, okay.
They even asked like, what about the rest of them? And then like the rest of them are fine.
Well, I figured that those were the ones that were on the boat. I thought that he had, like, the ones that Murtaugh was smuggling or whatever. I thought he killed all those except for Ping, but I might be wrong.
No. I mean, we never see, but they did mention it once in the movie, like, what about the rest of the Hung family? And they're like, and the guy was like, they're fine.
Yeah. Well, I know at the end, yeah, they even talk about what happened to them, but... Anyway, so, Lorna tells... I wrote down that Lorna tells Riggs that she doesn't want to get married. She doesn't want Riggs to feel like obligated to get married to her or anything like that. She has a lot of shit going on. And then somebody tries to push him onto the train tracks, kind of like what they did with that politician at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, it's like their signature or something.
Yeah. Instead, he just throws the car and drives off.
Which I don't understand. I never understood how that... I've seen this in other movies.
Yeah.
Where people get pushed in front of train tracks, and literally all you have to do is drive.
Yeah. Put it in drive. You're good.
But no, they always do this, like, push back and forth. I'm going to use reverse.
Right.
My car's not even in reverse. It's in drive.
Right. Just drive forward. Yeah, you're good. That's stupid. But,
Mel Gibson figured it out. Or, excuse me, Riggs figured it out.
Right. So, they, I said already that Jet Li is using the counterfeit money to buy back the forefathers. mafia bosses from this Chinese general. And so there's this general, apparently he can be bought using counterfeit money. It's supposed to be, what is it, like, I don't know how much money they're using to buy these forefathers back.
It's a shit ton.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's a lot of cases full of whatever it
fake
is.
Money. Yeah, that monopoly money. Yeah. And so anyway, Riggs and Murtaugh show up like right whenever the transaction's gonna go down, and Riggs tells him everything as far as the money being fake and all that shit. He's like, compare it with your other money, you know. It looks good, but it's not perfect, you know, and all that. And then we get one of my favorite Mel Gibson moments where he's like, I fucked you, you know, that whole thing.
Well, he does a lot of racist, like, shit right there.
Yeah, he does.
Like, fry right, and, like, all this different shit.
Yeah, which is less funny knowing Mel Gibson's affinity for other races.
Right.
Yeah. So...
Big shootout.
There's a big, between Jet Li's boys and like the General's boys, there's this big gunfight. For whatever reason, Riggs and Murtaugh and Butters get involved as well because they're trying to take out Jet Li's dudes. So Murtaugh's about to get shot at one point. Butters winds up saving his ass. He gets shot. And so, what is it? At one point, toward the end of the gunfight, Murtaugh actually he gets an opportunity where he can shoot Jet Li, but Jet Li dodges the bullet at the last second, and it winds up hitting his brother, one of the forefathers. And then this is basically where the movie culminates, if you will, where Jet Li's pissed off, and they go down to this pier.
Well,
go ahead.
So we just saw this monster shoot him out, bang him up fight, right?
Yes.
It goes on for quite a while. And then at the end we see Jet Li holding his brother who's dead or dying in his arms. And Murtaugh and Riggs are debating if they're just going to let him go.
Right.
We just let him go because they know he'll kick their ass. And they're all out of bullets.
They're like, we can let him go now and then we'll just catch him later, you know, and all that shit.
Get a howitzer and go pick him up or something.
Yeah.
So they're debating letting him go. But then he stands up and he looks at them like, you're not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And Mel Gibson Riggs tells Murtaugh, how did he pull the slide off my gun with one hand like that? Let's go ask him.
Yeah.
And so they start the fight.
I'm not gonna lie. You have two hero characters go into a fight knowing that they're gonna get their asses kicked. That's actually kind of a good way to build up to that last fight, I think. You know, you know.
Well, I'm glad that Riggs didn't tell Murtaugh I got this one.
Right. Yeah.
They realized if we have any chance, we both got to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing about it. They established early on in the movie too. There's this kid that's just a cop that was kicking his ass. You know, this dude doesn't stand a chance now. You know, it's this martial arts master. You know. There's what is it? I just wrote down Jet Li nearly kills Riggs, and then Murtaugh stabs him with rebar. Basically, long story short.
Yeah, Murtaugh he's holding on to a piece of rebar, watching Riggs get his ass kicked. Mm-hmm. Get choked out, and then he suddenly hits him oh, I'm holding a piece of rebar.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. I mean, it's the way it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, he goes over there and shish kebabs Jet Li
right in the guts.
Yep. Yeah, but Jet Li's still fighting.
Mm-hmm.
How did Murtaugh gets knocked down?
Yeah. And then Riggs stands up and decides he's going to finish the job. He's grabbing the rebar and jerking it around and stuff. Fucking with this dude.
Pretty effective.
Yeah. They both wind up falling in the water.
Yeah, he picks him up by the rebar.
Yeah.
And the concrete pad they're standing on breaks.
That would hurt so bad.
Oh, God. Terrible.
Yeah, it would.
But the concrete pad they're standing on breaks. And they fall into the water.
Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of a fight underwater, but they wind up. There was a car that had crashed in the water earlier, and Riggs finds a machine gun, winds up shooting Jet Li with it. That's the end of that, basically.
Yeah, he's finally dead.
Yep.
And then he swims up to the surface of the water, Riggs does, and he's calling out for Murtaugh. And then the concrete pad completely breaks off and traps Riggs under it.
Right. Yes. So, long story short, Murtaugh wakes up. He's looking all around for Riggs. Can't see him anywhere. Doesn't hear him talking or anything like that. He notices the concrete's broken on the thing. He swims down underneath there, sees where Riggs is stuck underneath the concrete pad. And so they both do the little count to 3 or whatever. They lift at the same time. Riggs gets safe. And, that's basically the end of that.
Murtaugh said that Riggs willed him to him.
Something like that.
It's a reoccurring theme throughout the film. They talk about willing things to happen.
I will will it to not happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
All that shit.
Their will never worked.
No.
Like at the very beginning of the movie, they're willing that the guy doesn't turn around with the flamethrower.
No.
They're like, don't turn around. Don't turn around. Don't turn around. He turns around.
Turns around. I will not let that happen. Yeah. Then they go to fight Jet Li and he gets his ass kicked a couple times. Yeah. Yep. One thing I will say for them is for them getting their asses kicked so much, they never stay down. So that's something, I guess. But,
right.
So Riggs, after all is said and done, he goes to his his dead wife's Vicky's grave. He's basically talking to her about I miss you, but I won't be happy too, and I don't want to feel like I betrayed you or whatever if I marry Lorna and all this other crap. And so I actually kind of like this scene with Leo. As it turns out, Leo Getz is he's followed him to the cemetery because there's a whole little subplot of him trailing behind Riggs and Murtaugh the whole movie. But what winds up happening is Leo talks to him and he tells him about this stupid turtle that he had. What was the name? Or the frog? Froggy.
Yeah, Froggy.
Yeah, real creative. But he talks about how he had this stupid frog. He didn't have a lot of friends and stuff growing up. It was like his best friend.
He didn't have any friends.
Yeah. And
he would kiss the frog, hoping it would turn into a princess.
That could be his mom and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so anyway, he talks about how didn't the frog get run over at one point?
He's riding his bike and he's got the frog in like a box on the front of the bike, and the frog jumps out of the box and he runs it over with his rear tire.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, so he killed his best friend.
Right. And then he said that, whenever he became friends with Riggs and Murtaugh, that they kind of, at that point, he felt like, they weren't the same kind of friends, but just because it's not the same doesn't mean it's not good, It was basically his whole point. So, his marriage with Lorna, while it may be different, it doesn't mean that it has to be a bad thing either, was the whole point of that. Just then, Riggs' pager goes off. Turns out Lorna's going into labor.
Yep.
Yeah. And whenever he gets... Go ahead.
No, go, man, please. I'm just... This next scene, I was exhausted by the time I got to this scene.
My thing was, is this movie going to end?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Come on, bro.
Like, how far do we have to drag this shit out?
Right. Well, so Lorna decides...
The answer's like another 20 minutes is the answer.
It's like Return of the King or something, bro. Like, just end the fucking thing. You got rid of the ring. But, so when I get to the hospital, Lorna and Riggs decide that they're going to get married. She wants to get married before the baby's there, even though it won't be official. She just wants the words to be out there. And so Leo goes and finds a rabbi, and he decides that he's going to give them this little fake marriage, because they don't have a marriage certificate or anything like that. But they still say the words. She winds up having the baby. At the same time, Rianne has her baby.
Leo steals a piss cup from an old man.
Oh, yeah. So
it makes them step on it so they can yell Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov, because it's a rabbi, of course.
Yeah.
Even though none of them are Jewish, but whatever.
You got like this medical staff are like standing around like the whole time, be like, she's about to have this baby. Like, we need to do this now. And everybody is just like, no.
My thing is, if it was that big a deal, you don't want to push that shit off for too long. Because I think at this point, it was already too late for her to have an epidural. But in the event that it wasn't, you're kind of fucking yourself, I'm just saying, there's a window of opportunity there for that, and you're blowing it, but whatever.
Yep.
So I wrote down baby Riggs, baby Butters. They like look at their grandkid in the nursery, all that stuff.
Yep.
And so the captain shows up at the last minute, and he tells them they're sergeants again because the city now is self-insured. And then I wrote down family photo where like Butters, Murtaugh, his family, Riggs, Lorna, his kid, the captain, all those guys like
Leo
take a picture. Yeah, Leo gets in the picture too.
Are you guys all friends? No, we're family.
We're family. Such a cheesy way to end that movie.
The end.
The fucking end. Finally. Thank God.
Jesus.
So what'd you think of the movie, Mike?
I thought it was dog shit.
Which is sad because I like Lethal Weapon, but
dude, there was some moments in it where I even like chuckled out loud, but Chris Rock wasn't a good fit.
No.
And I'm a huge Chris Rock fan.
Yeah.
But
in the right thing.
Yeah, he just didn't fit. I don't know, man. You have to the amount of like suspension of reality that you have to have.
Disbelief, yeah.
Yeah, in this movie, like to believe that Riggs, Mel Gibson, could pull off the stunts and stuff that he was doing in this movie. And it was really hard too because like Mel Gibson at this point in his life when they filmed this, he already had like the salt and pepper hair going.
Right.
And the stuntman they used for him had jet black hair.
Mm-hmm.
So it was clear when the stuntman was doing the stunt instead of Mel Gibson.
Right. Like hanging off the building and all that shit.
And the table surfing and all that stuff, yeah.
Right.
Like it was really rough. The amount of action, like those action scenes would go on forever.
It's weird, man, because I'm sitting there watching it, like I should be excited by this, but I'm not,
Like we talked about really this for about an hour.
Yep.
It's a 2-hour movie. And the reason why we could wrap it up in about an hour is because so much of it was just this over-the-top action stuff that didn't contribute at all.
Well, and a lot of it's bullshit, like Leo running around and acting annoying, which I think is funny, but it doesn't, you don't have to bring it up when you're mentioning the movie or anything, So, I don't know. It's really kind of sad because, especially like the first 2 Lethal Weapons, I thought were really good movies, and then to watch this, you're kind of like, it kind of sucked, man.
I don't know if I ever saw the third. I know for sure I saw the first and second. I'm positive of that.
Yeah.
I even remember Murtaugh's garage being repaired in the second one.
Yeah. Well, there's that, and I remember. You remember the whole like scene where they're killing all the LA cops in the second one, and somebody puts a bomb on his toilet.
Oh yes, of course I remember that.
Right, and it blows the toilet like out of the bathroom through the wall and onto the car out in the street. All that shit.
It like pulls them into a bathtub, right, with a mattress.
Yeah, and they put like the thing over the top of them so that they can hopefully not die. Yeah.
I remember that.
It was great. Yeah,
it was good.
Lethal Weapon 2. So it's kind of weird because I would talk to this dude where I used to work back in the day, and I was like, I said my 2 favorite cop movies, I said are probably 7 with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. I said, and on the way opposite end of the spectrum, probably Lethal Weapon 2, just because it's like a perfect mix of like great action, good comedy, pretty good story, great villain, like everything like was working on all cylinders, with that one.
Mm-hmm.
And this one did not. I don't know what it was, but I don't know, man. It was crap.
Yep.
Any final thoughts or anything
on
else?
Lethal Weapon 4?
Yeah.
Save your time.
No.
Take those 2 hours and do something else with it.
That's it, man. You could, even if you're just watching a movie, you could watch something better, you know. So,
yeah.
Or spend time with your kids, you know.
Or watch a movie with your kids.
Yeah, there you go.
It's all good, but don't watch Lethal Weapon 4.
Nah, you're fine without it. What else did you watch this week?
Nicole and I have been binge watching A Handmaid's Tale.
Is it that good?
Yes.
I have to check it out.
Well, we rented something. What did we rent? Oh, we watched Sherlock Gnomes.
Oh, I'm sure that was great.
Really good.
Fantastic.
And we watched Pacific Rim Uprising.
How was that?
It is what it is, man.
See, I thought the first one was really stupid, so I probably wouldn't get this one at all. You know?
No, I don't think you probably would appreciate it very much.
No.
But
I mean, the first one was okay, but it's a dumb movie. If you like dumb action shit, then I guess you'll probably love it. But I watched it and was like, meh, it is what it is.
I watch those kinds of movies when I'm not really trying to put a whole lot of effort into what I'm watching. I just want to see something cool.
Right. See some shit get blown up and...
Well, and you see these...
giant robots fighting giant aliens.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I got you.
What about you?
So, me and you, we went and watched Star Wars The Last Jedi, and we were not impressed at all when we watched it. And so I rewatched
I told you
that.
I changed my mind about that.
Yeah, especially I think Kevin Smith, his ideas of it.
His vlog.
That too.
Yeah, helped me out a lot.
Yeah. I went and rewatched it on Netflix because it just hit this week. And still hated it. Did not do it for me. What else did I watch? I watched, of course, the Lethal Weapon stuff. Me and you watched like a shitload of Shark Tank for some reason.
Oh, on 4th of July?
Yeah. And
yeah, we did watch a lot of Shark Tank that day.
Yeah, like hours. Everybody's doing like Independence Day stuff, and we're watching Shark Tank. And I also started. There's a Netflix series, and I think it's only 8 episodes, like a one-shot deal. But it was called 11/22/63 with James Franco. Yeah, it's the whole idea of it is that this guy played by Chris Cooper, he owns a diner, and basically he figures out that in this diner, in this closet, if you walk back far enough, it like drops you off in like October 21st, 1960. And so it's a Stephen King story. The whole idea though is that what he wants to do, because he's been trying to do it unsuccessfully for a while, but he basically requisitions James Franco to prevent the assassination of John F. Kennedy.
That's what happened on 11/22/63, right?
Yes.
See, you said it, the name of the thing. I was like, why does that date? It sounds like a date, and it sounds really familiar.
Right. It sounds important, yeah. The whole idea of it, though, is that... so I guess Chris Cooper was in Vietnam or whatever, and he thinks that things never would have escalated to Vietnam because Lyndon Johnson never would have been president had JFK not died. And so he's like, all of his boys and stuff like that would still be alive and whatnot, and he thinks that the world would be like completely different if JFK was never assassinated. And so I started watching it, looking forward to finishing it, but I'm only like an episode or 2 in, so
You got a way to finish then.
Yeah, that's it. Do you have any idea what we're watching next week?
None.
Random. 1998 was a weird time, man.
I know that in like Saving Private Ryan is sometime soon.
Yes, it is sometime soon.
But I don't think it's next.
Nope. Next week is The Mask of Zorro.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
With Anthony Hopkins and what's his name?
Antonio Banderas.
Yeah, Antonio. You bet.
Isn't Catherine Zeta-Jones in it too?
Yes, she is. The goddess. Oh my god.
I saw this movie in the theater.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't care for it?
I don't remember what I thought of it.
Oh, okay. So
I'll have to rewatch
that's fair
it.
enough. Yeah, you'll have that chance. So,
Pretty sure I did.
I'm actually kind of looking forward to it.
Pretty sure I went to see it because of Catherine Zeta-Jones.
I don't blame you. Money well spent.
Mm-hmm.
But in any event, if you want to get in contact with us, you can always email us, cheesymovie@yahoo.com. Our Facebook page is Casino Royale with Cheese, all separate words. YouTube handle, Casino Royale W Cheese. Our anywhere you get your podcasts, be that Podbean or iTunes, whatever, Casino Royale W Cheese, all one word. You can also look us up on Instagram, Casino Royale W Cheese, one word. And our Twitter is Casino Royale WCH, all one word. And I think that's going to do it for me, hombre.
That's all I got, man.
All right, everybody. Well, skip Lethal Weapon 4 if you get the chance to watch it. Oh, by the way, we scheduled that horribly. Me and Mike went to sit down because Lethal Weapon's been on Netflix, all 4 of them, forever. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm going to turn this on Netflix. And then, like, it got pulled July the 1st. This is like 4 days after I'm trying to watch the fucking movie.
I paid $2.99.
Did you?
Yeah, Amazon Prime.
Oh, well, what are you going to do? But
the show must go on.
That's it, man. In any event, next week, make sure you join us for The Mask of Zorro. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
I'll be back.